Welcome to O Talkin' with Dave. Put your hands together for the pastor of positivity whose glass is always at least half full. Here's Dave.
Hey, how we doing out there? I hope you're doing great. I can hardly contain myself. I'm working on it, though. I'm working on my self-control. I have a lot of help pointing out the different ways I can improve. Been married low these many years. You get a lot of help. It's great. I feel like Bill Burr sometimes. We always seem to be working on me. Well, I need the work. Trust me. But I want to talk about self-control because my impatience challenges seems to resonate with some folks out there. Well, I don't know if misery loves company or not, but I'm not the only one. But I think part of dealing with a lack of patience is building up self-control. And it's self-control, you think about it. It's not always just calming down. Sometimes it's self-control sometimes you got to hit the gas. It's not all about the brakes. It's not all about idling. Sometimes you got to hit that gas, man. But so just to make sure we're on the same page, let's just talk about self-control in some areas where we'll just say I struggle. Maybe you struggle too. I don't know. Traffic is a two-edged sword with me. If I'm late and traffic is bad, angry. It's hard to stay calm sometimes. If I have plenty of time, I can deal with it. It depends on why there's a traffic delay. If there's a bunch of rubberneckers or you get up there and there's nothing wrong. Why is everybody slowing down? It's not even on our side. Those kind of things get me a bit. I have learned to stay calm, leaving in plenty of time. Yeah, I know. We all get stuck and running behind. And I'm telling you, some of my idiosyncrasies about being late. On time is late for me. I know we weren't all made that way. My parents ingrained that in me, not so much as telling me, but showing me. We were always so early. I tell the story of the time I had to take my kids to school, and they were early. They didn't know what to do. No one was there yet. They thought they were late. They thought they had to go to the office and get one of those slips because they were late plenty. We were always early. I think mom and dad had the keys to most places we were going to, and so we were early. So part of that is just me. It's built into me. But stressing out, it's not going to make a difference. It's not going to make traffic move any faster. So some self-control there would help. Hey, I've seen, I get impatient and take, especially in LA traffic or the big cities. Let me take surface streets. I'll get off and go around. Well, I noticed I was behind this big truck. I go around, it takes me around, at least I'm moving, right? All right. Then I get back on the main road, and there's that truck. He's still in front of me. I didn't save any time. If I had just had some self-control, I could have been all right. Yeah, so traffic, that gets me a bit. Also, criticism of others. If someone, I can't control traffic, but I also can't control if someone criticizes me. Criticism from others. And when somebody's criticizing someone else that, you want to take up for, or you don't feel is fair, you can't control that. You can respond. You can be defensive. You can get angry. Or you could just calmly consider, what, I do that. You are correct, sir. But your reaction is going to determine what happens next. Does that situation escalate or whatever? Does it get better? Or do we all learn something here, people? Yeah, but that's another one. Most of the time, people don't criticize me face to face. Now, my buddies give me the business, Or people will, they'll do it, but it's usually in a back and forth banter. I have in the past got some serious criticism, or we'll call it opportunities for improvement, coaching opportunities. Yeah, I've got plenty of those. It's how you handle that. I think this says a lot about you and about what comes next. But still, you have to show some self-control in that. Maybe you're interviewing for a job or a promotion at your current work or something, and you don't get selected. You really wanted it, man. I've had opportunities. I remember some projects I have been considered for. I didn't really want it. But then to get rejected, wait a minute. All of a sudden, I don't want to play, but I want to win, It's contrary to some other things. But it's part of it. It's that rejection that's part of it. And if nothing else, it steel sharpens steel. It makes you look at, all right, next time, here's what I can do. What can I do better? What can I improve? What skills can I improve? But there have been positions, especially early in my career, I really wanted. I think getting rejected, first of all, let's get a little philosophical. First of all, I wasn't ready for that job. Second of all, the lessons I learned from that job helped me at my current job at the time. And it prepared me for opportunities for jobs or positions or encounters that I was ready for. Yeah. So see, some self-control. Didn't I sound mature just then? I'm learning here. Nah. I tell you, you get beat up enough, you learn how to either punch or dodge. Yeah, there you go. And then, another thing you can't control, but you can't, all of these, you can't control what happens, but you can control your reaction. I don't know if I set that up properly, but another thing you can't control, Lord knows you can't control somebody else's bad mood. Coworker, family member, wife, kids. How many times have you been in a great mood, just ready to go, and you and the wife aren't on the same plane? Or you can't wait to see your teenage kid, son or daughter, and you're in a great mood, can't wait to talk to them. Well, they're not in the mood. They're not in the mood to talk. Lord knows teenagers have a cyclonic mood system. Thing is, don't take it personal. It's easy on this podcast to tell you, don't take it personal. However, you've been in a bad mood. Part of that self-control is realizing, I get it. Sometimes I don't feel like talking either. So my lovely and gracious wife, more lovely than gracious sometimes, but she will, her go-to when she's excited, you can tell, she just asks a ton of questions. Hey, how you doing? How's it going? How's this going? Hey, did you like that? What's happening here? It's just her way of conversation. It's part of it. And if you're, I love it because I love it. It shows me she's engaged and excited about something, that's a good thing. However, if you're not in a good mood, all those questions, I can see it. My daughter handles it better than my son, because my son's not a big talker unless it's a topic that he's really pumped about. So just quit the interrogation. Yeah. But there's boundaries. There's boundaries there, and you learn that. The thing is, don't let someone else's bad mood ruin your day, because that is up to you. Yeah. And then another thing we just can't control, it's changes. Change is going to happen. You lose an opportunity. Maybe there's a sudden life change. You're expecting a yes and you get a no. An event gets canceled. Maybe somebody else got their feelings hurt and you didn't even realize, and now it's all bubbled up. Maybe a relationship ends. It could be something big. My goodness, you have you get a ticket on the way to work. You get all these things can happen. Unexpected changes. How do you deal with it? How do you adapt? Do you dig in and think, why did this happen? A lot of times, I always say hindsight's perfect. And the timing is perfect. I just believe that. And eventually, lucky is the man lucky is the man. I sound like Confucius or someone. Lucky is the man who ends up understanding the why and the when something happened. I love that. Now I get it. I wasn't ready. Now I get it. That had to happen for this to happen. Or if that hadn't happened, this would have happened. Yeah, that's hindsight. What I am wanting to dig into, how do I control, instead of hindsight, how do I control my hind end right now? That's as Southern as it gets. When I pull out the hind end, we couldn't say but growing up. Oh, that's a 4-letter word. My mom would use the word hiney. Well, in the South, we talk about your hind end, which is your butt. Little linguistic coaching there for you. So that's the whole thing with self-control. I mean, whether it's patience, whether it's patience, long-suffering, maturity, whatever you want to call it, we are responsible for ourselves. We are responsible for our reactions. One thing that I've said, and I believe it, and I think I came up with this, you can't control how people treat you, but you can control how they continue to treat you. That's where your reaction and your self-control, and the control again, it's how you react positively, negatively, to what degree, or neutral. Maybe your self-control is you don't react. It's all good. So let's talk about why it is so important at home, work, and play. But I like to talk about why it's important. I also like to talk about what do you do? How do you, if you totally screwed things up, what do you do? But self-control is so important, and maturity plays a huge role in it. Not only maturity, but also a good dose of knowing yourself, knowing what's going to trigger you, knowing all of these things, and preparing for it. Screwing up. Man, I have reacted incorrectly so many times, but you learn from those. You do. And sometimes you have to mess up to correct. And it's good when you can understand that yourself rather than having it pointed out by everybody else. So let's talk about why it's so important. At home, work, and play. A lot of it is around relationships. Family, coworkers, friends. It helps you manage your emotions and reactions, but it prevents unnecessary drama, maybe unnecessary arguments. And the key word there is unnecessary. I'm not saying don't argue. That's part of self-control too. Sometimes you need to get in that conflict. You can't get through it till you get in it. That one. It also helps you when you build these strong relationships through self-control. It helps you listen better. Listening's so important, and we talk about that a lot. But another thing it does, when you can control yourself appropriately, it promotes trust. They can count on you not to lose it. They can bring something up without you going. My wife, she's really good at this. I know when she's going to bring up something. She did it probably 30 minutes ago. Are you in the middle of something? That's Southern too. Or does everybody do that? You ask someone, are you in the middle of something? Well, I don't. I'm busy. I don't know if I'm toward the beginning or toward the end. I don't know if I'm right in the middle, which means I got something to say. And she let me know a few things we need to work on this week. Yeah. So we will get right on that. It seems like most of those things we need to work on, though, are things that she's got under control. However, we have the kind of relationship to where she can come to me and talk to me that way and trust that I'm not going to, hey, I am busy in here. I'm doing all that stuff. Blah, 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 blah. No, I'm not going to do that. If I'm in a bad mood, I might. However, she trusts me and respects me, and I also trust and respect her enough to know, oh, this is something that's important to her. When she says, are you in the middle of something, it means even if you are, I need to share something. That's good self-control on my part. Yeah, but it's important. Self-control is important because it builds strong relationships. Another thing it does, I don't know if it completely prevents, but it diminishes regretful actions. Now, this is important. This is important. Have you ever done anything or acted in a way or said something that, shouldn't have said that. You regret it immediately. Or maybe it builds over time. You think, I really wish I hadn't done that. I really wish I hadn't said that. In a moment of stress or maybe temptation, snapping at somebody. A snap. I'm the king of snaps. And a lot of them are sarcastic. I'm a counterpuncher too. You want to dig at me, I'll snap back. And I can do it briefly. You cut me, I'll cut you back, Mick. I'll cut you, Mick. And I'm not bragging about it. That is something I need to understand about myself. Another way of this is snap back with an email or a text. Emails and texts are horrible. I think texts are even worse. People used to get mad at me. Friends and loved ones used to get mad because I text personally like I do business-wise, meaning quick and to the point. It's accepted. No, some of my texts and emails have been rude. Some of them are perceived as rude. However, doing something that was intentionally rude or regretful, we do it. And the thing is to be able to have self-control to where that's fewer. I remember when one guy says, "You'll never hear me apologize because I don't do things that I need to apologize for." Well, aren't you something? Well, that's good because you think about it ahead of time. It was not true, by the way, but that's a good, if you think before you speak or you think before you react, you're reducing the occurrence of it, which is fantastic. I love that. And self-control helps that. And it helps you not do things or make decisions or actions or snapping that you're going to regret. So self-control helps that. Also, we all, whether we know it or not, whether they're written down, we have long-term goals. And by that, at home, work, and play, we have long-term goals. What do you want to do? At work, well, I have these ambitions inside this company, outside this company. I'd like to be promoted. I'd like to relocate. I would like to, have more people under me. I want more responsibility. At home, I would love to move. I'd like a bigger house. I would like all of these things. I would like to be closer to my kids. I'm really close to my kids. I like to be closer to my kids. I like to do more vacations with my kids, both of them together than individually. I'm close to their significant others, but you know what? I'd like to get to know their families. So it's, share. You have goals. Personally, I'd like to break 80 on my, playing golf. I'd like to be in shape to where I could consider some more athletic stuff. I'd like to start playing tennis again. I never played tennis. I'd love to play tennis. I don't like to start playing tennis because of the learning curve stuff. But, you've got goals. You've got goals, short and long term. Self-control helps you with all that. It helps you with saving money. It helps you with eating healthy. It helps you with exercise. In your leisure time, it helps you balance. Self-control is one of the keys to time management. The discipline side of it? Absolutely. And self-control makes you turn that computer off and spend some leisure time. Go read a book. Go learn how to do a new hobby. Something like that. Go play tennis. Just go hit against a wall. Whatever. Self-control. It supports long-term goals. It reduces your stress and conflict. It reduces it. Now, you think, well, you bottle this up and you don't react a certain way. It's going to cause more. No, you're able to stay calm and not react impulsively. Many times, the stress and conflict comes from the reaction. It's not even what it's about. It's the reaction. You don't do that, it's not going to escalate. You're not going to, you say this, it escalates, say something, now you blurt something back. You've put a little exponent beside that. So self-control helps reduce that stress and that conflict, which is very important professionally. It's just as important in your relationships. Nobody wants to be around you. They can't, man, this guy's unpredictable. And all of that takes away the peace that you need during your play or your downtime. Or if you're going to, if you're going to rest and relax. Now you're all tensed up because of you reacted poorly. And I guess the last thing I'll say around self-control and why? Why? It's so much fun not having any control of myself. Huh? It's a good reality series. It encourages better habits. When you have self-control, you make better choices. You eat better, you exercise more, you stay more organized, you use your time more wisely, and over time that just leads to a more balanced, productive, and satisfying lifestyle. You are. You're going to be happier. More people are going to want to be around you. You're showing self-control. Now you're giving the world a better product, and you are part of that world. So it's an understand that you are in control of this. There is no situation to where you are not in control of your reaction. This was hard for me because I used to blame other people. Yeah, I used to. You can't blame anyone else for the way you react. Once you understand that, you start to grow a little better. I don't know if you can hear that plane, but I think the military's coming in here. I think I've upset somebody with this topic. So when you stop blaming other people and take responsibility for your choices, you're going to start making better choices. You're taking control. You're in power now. And that's when you start to make fewer sporadic or reactive choices. So it sets the stage for you getting better. Also, when you don't blame other people, it helps you to get rid of that whole victim mentality. That is an ugly thing. Nobody likes a victim. Eventually, if you play the victim, you're going to have a lot of company because tons of people play that victim. And that's their way out of accepting responsibility. Why is this happening to me? Instead of that, it should be, okay, now what do I do? What do I do next? Which is much more productive. What do I do next? All right, I did this. I'm in this situation. Okay, what's next? Boom. Rather than, what is happening to me? Have a pity party. Yeah, please. I talked about it improving relationships. Blaming creates resentment. Blaming creates defensiveness. And it doesn't have to be the person you're blaming. It can be the friend of the person you're blaming. Blaming is the seed for gossip. Blaming is the seed for drama. Take ownership of it. Own it. When you do that, that speaks to your character. It's going to have healthy relationships. Also, it shows emotional maturity. I've done some things, even recently, that I could have gotten mad at somebody about. Well, if I hadn't done that, this wouldn't have happened. Boom. Own it. Own it. It shows that you're, it shows some emotional maturity. Taking ownership of your reactions, it helps with honest communication. Yeah, hey, this is on me. And I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done it. I should have done it a different way. Even if, I've seen people at parties or social engagements where they may have acted appropriately, but at the wrong time, which makes it inappropriate. But you know what they said wasn't so bad. It's either how they said it or who was around and heard it. That's still doing a apology. Hey, my bad. I know this was a downer. I shouldn't have done that. It won't happen again. I've been around people that, they're a little nervous about reactions. They're more nervous about reactions than the actual event. Own your reaction, and then stay grounded. That shows emotional maturity. And then lastly, it helps you stay focused on what matters. It helps you don't play the victim. When you take responsibility, you're focusing on, this is me, this is what I can control. I can control my attitude. I can control my effort. I can. And by saying that, I can also control my choices. When I make bad choices, they're mine. When I make good choices, I'll let somebody else talk about those good choices. That's a good rule too. But it keeps you from wasting energy on things or people you can't change. Let's get busy owning ourselves. We're going to have a lot less time to try to fix everybody else. And that clarity helps you. It really does. I apologize for the coughing, but I don't edit, man. I just let it fly. I don't edit. I let it. Whew, I should have shown more self-control there. So let's talk about some reasons why, just with self-control, the difference in fault and responsibility. Because this is something I learned early on. My dad taught me this, and I learned it from my granddad in different areas. You know the statement, life just isn't fair. I don't like that statement. It's probably true. Let's just say it's true. My life has been very fair. And you know why? Because I've gotten away with so much stuff. Yeah, I got a lot of spankings, but I was a third kid. I got away with a lot. So when something happened to me and I got in trouble, I didn't really deserve it for this, but I deserve it for those 4 things. So, yeah. In the balance sheet of life, however, the statement life isn't fair, all right, let's let it stand. Yeah, okay, so what are you going to do? Life isn't fair. You may not have caused the problem, like if you're being treated unfairly, or there's a problem that hits your desk, there's a problem that hits your life, there's a problem that affects your family. It's not your fault. No, but it's still your responsibility to choose how you respond. You may have to fix the problem. You didn't cause it. It's not my fault. Psh. Don't wash your hands of it, because it's your responsibility to fix it. Your response to it, your self-control or lack of self-control, can turn it into something constructive. So it's not your fault, but it is your responsibility. You'll learn, as we talked about a second ago, blame doesn't solve any problems, but action does. Even if something's not your fault, blaming others won't fix it. When you have some self-control, you can shift the blame. Instead of blaming, how are we going to fix it? What's the action? Focus on what you can do, not what has happened or what shouldn't have happened. Don't spend your time yelling and screaming and losing your temper at whoever caused this. That's not going to help. It still happened. If you take responsibility to fix it. And that's personal growth requires ownership. And personal growth, that's Pollyanna, I know. Whatever. However, I need to be more patient. I need to show more self-control. Showing more self-control is personal growth. That requires ownership, taking responsibility, even when it's not my fault. It's not my fault. Most of the time it is. Most of the time it's my fault. So, however, when it's not, take action. When you do that and it's not your fault, that builds resilience. It shows and builds character. Self-control, when you resist the urge to blame or complain, lean into it, people will learn from that, and you will see results from that, so you're going to learn as well. Others may cause harm, but sometimes you're the only one that can do something constructive about it. It's not your fault, again. Someone is hurt. Maybe you're hurt, betrayed, or wronged. Yeah, it's not your fault. Oh my goodness, it's a horrible thing. If you were betrayed or someone was not loyal to you, you're harmed in some way, emotionally, even physically. Many times, you're the only one that can fix it. Yeah. Oh, it's easy to play the victim card there, but the healing is your responsibility. Ooh, ow, Dave, now you're meddling. No, self-control helps you own that. Everybody's looking at you. You're the victim here. You're not playing the victim, though. You're the victim, and you can make it okay by what you do next, and you're in control of that. And also, the whole thing behind victim and blame and fault and responsibility is if you're going to be the leader, and I know a lot of people think, I don't want to be a leader. I don't want to be a role model. You are for somebody. You are. So whether it's at homework or play, knowing the difference in fault and responsibility and stepping up, having the maturity to blaze that path and show people, yeah, okay, all right, we're in a mess here. You may not be the leader, but you step forward and you help fix it. You know, I used to go to new branches with a company, and I would be like a regional manager. So you'd have a market manager and then a regional manager, and then you had all the sales managers and the inside people and the outside people and all these people. I would go in and I would notice the floors or the literature racks or the garbage. And my goodness, if the garbage needed taken out, I took it out. If the floors were messed up, I'd get the vacuum cleaner and vacuum. I would start organizing, whatever. And at first, they would think, oh no, we're in trouble. He had to do that. He saw that and got mad. Oh my goodness, he's fixing it. Oh, all hell is going to break loose. Nah. Then they saw that, no, he's not mad. He's not mad at all. And some people would ask me, what are you doing? Or they would apologize. Oh, I'm so sorry. I meant to do that. Oh, don't worry about it. No, that's what we do here. Something needs doing, you just do it. Wasn't my fault. I didn't put any of that garbage in there. I didn't get that stuff on the floor. And I'm not saying, look at me, I am the role model. No, I'm just saying my actions spoke so much louder than any words there. So leadership means stepping up, not pointing fingers. My goodness, growing up, every meal I spilled something. I usually spilled my drink, and we had a leaf in the middle of the table. It got to the point to where everybody went to their battle stations. Meaning, all right, okay, when David knocks something over, Dad picks it up. Debbie would put something under the crack in the middle of the table. Mom would go get paper towels, and Denise would just start clearing stuff out of the way. Boom. It wasn't any of their fault. But if they wanted to be able to finish the meal and maybe not get me in trouble or whatever, they pitched in and helped. Boom. Battle stations. My son picked up the mantle where I left off. But that's just what you do. It means stepping up. It's part of a team. That reaction was great. Instead of, you always do this. What's wrong with you? Why can't you? No. And for all the things we just said, it helped the situation. So a lot of this, and I mentioned it earlier, manage your expectations helps with self-control. Yeah. And your expectations come from past experiences. Now, this is huge. I talk about triggers, learning from mistakes, learning from wins. But manage your expectations so that when something happens or something doesn't happen, your reaction is not as spontaneous or knee-jerk or whatever you want to talk about it. So when you manage expectations, you're reducing the surprise or the disappointment. If you've been in a similar situation before, and the younger you are, the fewer times it happens, but it still pertains. Realistic expectations helps you with your self-control. You're less reactive. You kind of knew that was happening, or you knew it was a possibility, and it helps you control your emotions. It also helps with your decision making. When you're learning from past experiences, it allows you to predict actions or reactions or temptations for you and for other people. If you get some good or bad news if you get good news in front of other people, your good news is bad news for them. You manage your reaction. You got the promotion instead of the guy next to you, and he's devastated, and he needed it. He was counting on this money. He's already told his wife, and they've already put a down payment on something, and this is devastating to him. Great news for you. Manage your reaction. Yeah. If you get devastated news, let's just say he got it. You were counting on it too. Congratulations, man. You deserve it. What does that say? But you know it's coming. You know it's coming. Prepare for it. Homework or play. Also, this is the good thing about it. I hear manage your expectations builds patience. And here's what I mean. Experience shows you that things are going to happen. And if you can resist short-term gratification in favor of something long-term, maybe a long-term reward, it helps with your self-control. What I'm talking about is those long-term goals. So you've heard about losing the battle but winning the war. You're going to lose a lot of battles, man. A lot. And if you don't, well, kudos, first of all. But second of all, you learn something with every battle you lose. The patience comes with still focusing on the long-term goal. The long term can be a month from now. It can be 2 weeks from now. Short term could be this morning, this afternoon. It builds patience when you look at the long-term goals. That's why a lot of people get so upset so quickly. They haven't really thought this through. And building patience is key. Also, and this is the last thing and I'll move on, it strengthens your emotional toughness, which we all need strengthening, some more than others. Sometimes we're just in a bad mood. Just not fair. It's just not fair. Well, when you're grounded in reality, it's not only fair they made the right decision. You know, I wasn't qualified. They got a lot more experience than me. You know, they didn't. Yeah. Our kids lost because the other team was that much better than them. You know, youth sports is one of the, it's a petri dish for bad emotions from parents. Parents ruin youth sports. And if you're in youth sports and you can't think of the parents that are ruining it, you're probably them. But emotional toughness, it's so important that we build this and control ourselves and our responses and what we say and what we do and how we act in front of our kids. Because we're giving them the roadmap. We are. At work, people who look up to you, whether it's authority-wise or you're a bit of a role model, or someone says, hey, he's successful, act like him, and you act poorly, that is the Baptist definition of a stumbling block. Yeah. Or, my goodness, I remember there were times when, not that much. I knew better. I bought my own equipment, but you had people that play tennis that would throw their racket and throw temper tantrums. What is wrong with you? He broke his racket? My goodness, I have to buy my rackets. You know, he just got to go to mom and dad, or he's got 3 more on the side there. So responsibility helps with a lot of this. But if you learn emotional toughness, we'll just say the younger you learn it, the better. So it's important. You know, past experiences are a predictor. History repeats itself, right? People that act this way are going to act that way again. So why? That's what gets me about people. I'm really okay. I don't know what this cough is. People that get upset with somebody that acts the same way all the time. What do you expect? They always do this and you always get mad. Control your emotions. Use past, manage your expectations by thinking when they say this, I'm not going to get upset. I'm going to either do this or that. I'm going to say this back, or I'm going to walk away. I'm not going to let it get to me. You know? I talk about putting on the brakes or hitting the gas. Self-control is not always about slowing down and taking a breath. Hey, I like this side of self-control. Sometimes, no. Hey, it means I got to rev something up here. I'm not just going to sit back and let this happen. Like speaking up. If something is wrong or incorrect, maybe you're in a meeting and somebody's being unfairly treated. Oh, no. No, you have to have some self-control in order to do it in the right way. But that self-control is also, let's hit the gas here and take up for this person. It's the right thing to do. It corrects the record and it puts someone's bad behavior in check. You got to push past some fear to do that and be respectful and professional. But it takes a lot of control to do that. And that will be legendary. You don't do it to be legendary. You do it because it's the right thing to do. But speak up. If something's not right, speak up. Because later on, don't complain about it. If you didn't say something, oh, don't you love those people? I should have said this, or I started to say that, or maybe. Oh, well, duh. Hit the gas, buddy. Speak up. Or taking the initiative when everybody else, and including yourself, you're tired or unmotivated. You know? At the end of a long day, I still, my kids have been waiting all day on me. We're going to go out to eat or we're going to go to an event or something. I got to get it together. Let's pump this up. Let's do something to get some energy. Okay, at the end of the day of a work, okay, well, I'm tired. I get back to the hotel, it's 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. Well, I got a presentation tomorrow. I'm not going to make them pay for my mood or my physical or mental state right now. Let's rev this up. Come on, let's get going. Self-control is required. You got to rally. Rally. It's a good thing. You got to get it done. Even though your body's saying relax. Come on, sit this one out. There are times where we have to choose action over comfort. And a lot of times that comfort is that voice talking to you. Come on. Everyone will understand. You've had a rough day. Everyone will understand. You did great today. They don't expect you to be great 2 days in a row. Your kids will understand. They know you're working hard for a living. Please. Those are excuses. You're playing the victim. Hey. Blame and responsibility rearing its ugly head. Also, you got to step up when you got to enforce boundaries. If friends are just disrespecting your privacy or your time or your space, you've got to say something. You got to step up rather than avoiding the issue or reacting. Even sometimes you have to calm down, but reacting angrily? No, you just assert the fact that, look, it's been a long day. I just need some time. Can you come back in a couple of hours or tomorrow would be better? Something like that. It takes control and you're composed. However, you don't just let it happen. You need to talk. You need to have a talk with one of your kids or your wife. And the phone keeps ringing. Or, you don't answer the phone. That's easy. However, sometimes you need to respond, so you let them know, hey, can I call you back? That way everything's fine. And they're not going to keep calling every 30 seconds. So it requires you to do something respectfully and under control or the right amount of control. Also, a lot of times, maybe your values are under attack. You're pressured to go along with something that, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Well, no, I do know about it, and I'm not going to do that. Y'all going to go there? Okay, I'll meet you afterwards. Maybe you're going to be around some people that you don't want your wife or kids to be around. I tell you what, we're going to pass on this. However, and you set something positive, but you stand up. If there's going to be a conflict, resist that urge to please other people. Stand up to it. And instead of succumbing to what is popular, this is the same thing. This is why when we're teenagers, we learn these skills. It's the same thing. Stand up. for your principles. Don't calm down and give in. That requires courage, man. You need clarity, but it requires courage and some strength, some emotional resilience. And then also, I tell you another one that, and I love this one, as far as self-control teaches you to go. It's go time, is when maybe there's a risk that you've been avoiding. That risk could be starting a side hustle or a side project or a project at home, or you're going to build a tree house or a fort. That's the way my mind works. I don't know. Maybe you're going to go for a new role at work. Woo! Maybe you're going to have a conversation with somebody that needs to be had and it's rough. You know what? I need to have this. I'm waiting on somebody else to I'm waiting on somebody else to say it. Nope. I'm going to say it myself. That takes a lot of self-control, because self-control does not allow procrastination. Self-control, hopefully, by the control part, it makes you not overthink it. It makes you prepare and you push yourself into action. So sometimes controlling your fear means overriding it. Instead of, all right, let me think how I'm going to handle this, and let me think some more. Sometimes it's, nope, in a pool, cold water. Do you wade in a little at a time? Cannonball, splash. Now, everybody else is waded up to their giblets. No, I'm enjoying the pool because I'm used to it now. A lot of times, self-control means I'm going to take this risk that I've been avoiding. Yep, there you go. So, how do we do it? How do we do it? Dave, I agree. Everything you said is wonderful. I wish you hadn't said giblets. However, I get it. So, but I struggle with this. Hey, sometimes I struggle too. Usually my sins are of commission rather than omission. Go back to Sunday school and look that up. But how do we get started? Well, first thing is you got to build some awareness. I'll just go over 5 quick things. You got to build some awareness. Why does it matter? You can't control what you're not aware of, okay? So pay attention. Look at what triggers you. We've talked about this before. Look at your habits. What do you do? What trends do you see? You know, some people journal this stuff. Other people, it's, click. I've got my clicker. How many times did I do that today? 14. Oh, I got to do better. But knowing it, what triggers me? What people trigger me? What activities trigger me? And that way you can go on past behavior, past events to help you prepare. Then we talk about goal setting. And goal setting doesn't have to be getting out and writing something in blood and signing it. No. Goal setting is because when your priorities are clear, it's easier. Discipline's easier. Okay. All right. Your priorities are clear. All right. I'm going to lose 20 pounds. I'm going to do it over the next 3 months. Okay. I'm going to lose 20 pounds. All right. I know I'm going to walk more. Okay. That's fine. What is not acceptable? Cinnabon. Fried foods. But it's clear. Here's what I do. All I got to do is not do these. Boom. Your goals are clear. That sets discipline. It defines what you're working toward. If it's you want to save X amount of money, okay, we'll save this, but we won't spend this, okay? The physical health, staying calm in conflicts, okay? Every time I start to lose my temper, boom, I'm going to take a minute and put check marks. How many times I do that today? I had 4 situations where normally I would have flown off the handle, which is an axe handle. The head flies off there. That's where that came from. Normally I would have done, hey, I'm getting better. Now, I did call him a name, and I did mention something, and that was probably inappropriate. But 4 times today, I'm doing better. And some of this is little rules. You know what? I'm not checking my phone. I'm going to check my phone or my email at this time, and this time. Not going to do it other than that. Boom. You can measure those. And the thing is, so you set those goals, then you've got the 3rd step. Pat yourself on the back. Look at that. Look at that. I'm doing better. I can track it that I'm doing better. It's wonderful. Part of another thing you can do is delay gratification. Yeah, some people, this is very tough for, but showing restraint. And the way you do this, call it the 10-minute rule. Yeah, before I act on a craving, or I want to respond, or you get an email, say, just wait 10 minutes. Take a walk, go get a cup of coffee, have another conversation before you come back to that. Cravings, it really works, Eat a peanut. I don't know. And then back to that, all right? I'm going to calmly do this. Maybe instead of sending an email back, let's give them a call. After 10 minutes, I'm just going to call. It's a lot quicker anyway, and plus I can tell if they were serious or emotional or whatever. It's very good. And then you can celebrate those small wins. Another thing you've got to do, and people, I get pushback on this. Hey, my group is very supportive. Create that supportive environment. My friends love me. I'm sure they do. Yeah, are your friends that dramatic? Are your friends bringing over nothing bundt cakes? Those little cupcake things that are, they know you're trying to do better. Are they creating all these distractions? Are they the ones that you give in to? Surround yourself with people who care about you, but also they model some good self-control. They're not reactive to everything. You know what? They always seem to handle that well. Tell them. You notice that about them. Help me with that. And then also you can use reminders or alarms or whatever to stay on track. And these can be physical things on your phone, but it's also these triggers, that bell in your head. He's starting to talk about music, and music always becomes a competition. I've got to prepare for what he's going to say next. Those types. He's going to start bragging on this, and that always triggers something in me because I know mine's better. And it's, he's taking a bite of what I brought, and he's a great cook, and he's going to say what he would have done differently to make it better. How am I going to respond? Boom. It's built in. And then I think with everything, I had a coach early on that said practice doesn't make perfect, it makes permanent. So I think you need to practice this daily discipline. It can be something, it's like building a muscle. It can be something as simple as make your bed. Jordan Peterson talks about that. Make your bed. You know what? Let's only eat out on the weekends. I'm doing 10,000 steps no matter what. I don't care if I'm in bed and realize I got 4,000 steps more. I'm going to get up and do that. Something. Practice discipline and self-control. Show up when you don't feel like it. Write it down. I don't want to go, but I'm going to go. Put a date beside it, and you'll run across that at some point. You know what? I'm doing better. I'm practicing that. I need to do it. I don't want to do it. That means I should do it. So these types of things. Self-control is one of the few things in your life that is totally up to you. You can't farm it out. It's a yes, no. Did I have self-control? How could I improve that? I need to improve this as much as anybody. These O-Talks are for me. I get a lot of feedback from you, and I appreciate that. Send it to dave@otalks.com or david@otalks.com. Tell me if I'm close to the mark, I'm on the mark, or if I'm off the mark, but I need you to talk about this. Please. That's where these come from. So I appreciate it. It's something we can all get better at. I've got a lot of room for improvement, but I appreciate your support. I appreciate you hanging in there with me and hanging out. But most of all, I appreciate you O-Talking with Dave. Giddy up.